Hello, good evening. Tourism businesses say without extra financial support, the delay to ending COVID restrictions will push many to the brink. The First Minister has said a move to level 0 is likely to be pushed back by 3 weeks. Nicola Sturgeon promised businesses would get all the support they can offer. Our political correspondent Ewan Petrie reports.
Hello there.
Rising cases have extended the road out of restrictions. In Dundee, the rate of infection is now more than 300 per 100,000. A vaccination bus arrived in the city today to help reverse the increase. However, tourism businesses say a 3-week delay to easing restrictions could spell the end for many.
We're going to need some kind of financial support. I think the important thing is to realise that Scottish tourism has done an amazing job of being absolutely exemplary throughout the pandemic. And we've suffered incredibly heavy losses to help the national effort, but we now desperately need the Scottish Government to help us rebuild it.
The tourism sector wants an easing in household restrictions and clearer communication from the government. The First Minister promised the National Economic Forum she would give businesses as much support as possible.
I know that the nature of what we have been dealing with have meant that at times you have felt that communication has not met your needs. I'm genuinely sorry about that when that happens, and want to reassure you that we will continue to strive to do better as we move out of the pandemic, to talk with you, to listen to you, and to put the business community and your needs at the heart of our decisions.
The ability of vaccines to combat new variants is critical. Researchers at Aberdeen University have developed a test to show how effective they are against emerging mutations.
They will also kind of inform us on the prevalence of the infection in the mass population. We have developed the tests, so they are actually for mass population deployment. And going forward, this is going to be incredibly important for reopening of the country and travelling abroad.
Figures today showed 4 people have died due to adverse effects from the vaccine. However, to put that in context, more than 3.5 million have now received their first dose. Ewan Petrie, STV News.
A fatal accident inquiry is to be held into the deaths of 2 men in the Cameron House hotel fire. Richard Dyson and Simon Midgley lost their lives in the blaze in December 2017. The family of Mr Midgley appealed the initial decision not to hold an FAI after the conviction of the luxury resort and a porter. An independent Crown Office review has now concluded an inquiry should go ahead. The SNP's Westminster leader has described a new trade deal between the UK and Australia as disastrous for Scottish farmers. Speaking during an exchange in Parliament at today's Prime Minister's questions, Ian Blackford said it was throwing farmers and crofters under the Brexit bus. The agreement has led to fears that farmers may be undercut on price and standards.
Can the Prime Minister confirm that from day one of this deal, 35,000 tonnes of Australian beef and 25,000 tonnes of Australian lamb will be free to flood the UK market tariff-free?
What he doesn't realise is there already are £350 million worth of UK food going from this country to Australia. This is an opportunity to turbocharge those exports, to get behind Scottish farming and encourage them, Mr Speaker, not run them down.
Scotland's retail sector recorded its best performance since lockdown last month. Food sales continued to increase in May. However, online sales fell slightly as more businesses reopened with the easing of restrictions. However, total sales decreased by 3.6% on a 2-year basis compared with May 2019, when they decreased by 3.1%. A Highland community is considering a ballot on whether it should opt out of the North Coast 500 tourist trail. Applecross in Wester Ross has become one of the most popular attractions since the route was launched 6 years ago. But the business boom has taken its toll on fragile roads and resulted in so-called dirty tourism.
The stable door is open and the horse is bolted. If you look at North Coast 500 on social media, the ballot in a bar is a massive part of it, and a part that most people doing the North Coast 500 want to partake in.
The COVID pandemic is being blamed for a rising crisis in children and young people suffering from an eating disorder. The Royal College of Psychiatrists is warning urgent action is needed after the number of under-18s referred for help trebled in the last 3 years. Lynn Rankin reports.
Grace Nichol developed anorexia when she was 16. Over-exercising and a reliance on laxatives has led to her living with bulimia for the last 13 years. But the pandemic almost knocked the Inverness DJ's recovery off track.
I think when the gym shut, that was a bit of a shock to the system because I had started doing things indoors. I didn't feel like I was getting the right amount of exercise, and that really started messing with my head. I started getting all the demons back again, and at one point I did think, I'm going to slip into my old ways here.
Figures show there were 217 young people referred for treatment with eating disorders in 2018-19. That doubled the following year. And in the last 12 months, cases soared to 615, with the most striking increase in the Grampian area, where numbers have more than doubled in 3 years.
A lot of the consultations moved into being like what we're doing now, via video consultations. But children and young people do not cope very well with that. So that kind of impeded the progress and the management of young people.
Rob Donaldson's 17-year-old daughter has anorexia. When lockdown began, face-to-face support stopped and she was admitted to hospital.
She was in there for 4 months and managed to come home late summer 2020. But by November, again, she was really poorly. And the only bed available was in Glasgow. And that was a really traumatic day. It's over 100 miles away, and that was 7 months ago. But she's really struggled. No school to motivate her. And you need that motivation. You need that something to get you to fight the illness, because it's such a hard cycle to break.
Rob says his daughter is lucky to get a bed in a specialist unit in Dundee, but others are left trying to turn the tables on their condition as services struggle to cope. Lynn Rankin, STV News.
Well, it's time now for sport. Not long to go now, Chris. And I guess all the fans that are lucky enough to have a ticket are almost on their way.
We have to get excited again. It's a new start, a new dawn for Scotland. Yeah, there's not a train ticket to be had between almost anywhere in Scotland and London. I know there's hundreds of buses going down. There's people travelling on planes tomorrow as well. And on Friday, Scotland are invading London. Here's hope we can get a win.
Get your fill of the action. STV Sport, sponsored by Papa John's.
A very good evening. Yes, all eyes turn to Wembley now as Steve Clarke's Scotland squad count down to the game against England in London. The Scotland manager insists the players are in great spirits and have got the disappointment of the opening group game defeat to the Czech Republic well and truly out of their systems. Well, our reporter Sheila McLaren is with the Scotland team in County Durham.
Another day of glorious sunshine here at the Scotland squad's training base in County Durham as we edge ever closer to that Wembley showdown with England on Friday. The players are in good spirits. They're all about moving on now from that Czech defeat and fully focused on trying to get something from Friday's clash. And with the Tartan Army beginning their march to Wembley, the excitement's building once again. It would take a lot to get John McGinn down, and true to form, the Aston Villa midfielder is still positive about Scotland's chances of getting out of the group. There may have been a setback on Monday, but Scotland have been there before, and he believes they can bounce back once again.
Like in Serbia, it would have been very easy for us to win 1-0, go home, everyone in our bed before midnight, but we decided we might have to lose a last-minute goal and do it the hard way. So this time, we haven't had the start we wanted, but we're more than capable of getting out of the group, and that remains the same aim.
Today's training session here was closed to the media, but we do know that Kieran Tierney did take part today, and when we spoke to him, he says he's getting there in terms of fitness and rates his chances of playing on Friday as 60-40. So now all the focus is on Wembley.
Regardless of the result on Monday, we go into this game as underdogs. We've got a population of 5 million. They've got a population of 55 million, and their squad is riddled with superstars and players who are struggling to get even on the bench. So We'll go in there as underdogs, but with belief that we can go and get a result, because we do have quality in the squad.
It's going to be a game where we're going to have to be good at things that are outside of our comfort zone, as you could call it. But you know, Scotland are effective in different ways, so we have to be able to match them, compete with them, and then get the ball down and play our football as well. So it's going to be a game that we're going to have to be concentrated on.
2 days to go until the big one at Wembley, as Scotland try to keep the Euro dream alive. Sheila McLaren, STV News, with the Scotland camp in County Durham.
Well, do any Aberdeen fans remember 1983 Real Madrid? Well, Aberdeen manager Stephen Glass says they returned to Gothenburg after being paired with Swedish side BK Häcken in the Europa Conference League will bring back a flood of happy memories for Don's fans. Well, in the draw at UEFA HQ in Switzerland this lunchtime, Celtic were picked to play FC Midtjylland of Denmark in their Champions League qualifiers, while Hibs have the easiest draw. They'll either head to Gibraltar or Andorra to face Mons Calpe or FC Santa Coloma, respectively.
Yeah, that would be great. I think there'll be a few less boats leaving the harbour this time, but it's a place that's got a special place in Aberdeen's memories, and if we can add to that, great. They've not started fantastic this year, but I think they've had a little break, and they've got a good number of competitive games before we play them. So it's not going to be easy.
Elsewhere, Andy Murray's been handed a wild card entry to the Wimbledon draw. The two-time winner has not played a singles at the tournament since 2017. Murray won his opening match at Queen's Club yesterday as he continues his recovery from injury. Scotland playing England. Andy Murray at Wimbledon. It's like normal life is finally returning. That's all from me.
Get your fill of the action. STV Sport, sponsored by Papa John's.
And more good news too with the weather, or certainly for the next few days. Here's Sean with the forecast.
Blue skies and sunshine are in the forecast. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
A very good evening to you. Now, we're in quite a good position over the coming days. Lots of rain out to the west of us, lots of rain to the southeast of us, and all the rain that moves across England will be moving its way out into the North Sea. We've got this little wedge of high pressure coming in, so a lot of dry and fine weather. So if you've got outdoor plans tomorrow, Friday and Saturday, for most of us it will be dry apart from just a few isolated showers. Sunday a different story though. That's when we see a big switch in our weather. It starts to turn much wetter, and that takes us into the start of next week. But that is Sunday. Some good days to enjoy before that. Now today we've seen some rain moving its way eastwards, which is a cold front introducing fresher air, and that means tonight with the clear skies a few spots could get down to about 6 or 7 degrees Celsius, so perhaps a wee bit of a chill in the air in parts of the Highlands. Now tomorrow, mostly dry with sunshine for many of us. There will be a few isolated showers. Those showers tending to be across the Highlands, Skye, the Small Isles, Mull, Colin, Tyree and the Western Isles, and there will be a few of those heading into Orkney too. But elsewhere, a lot of dry, fine weather. Temperatures not overly high, 16 to 19 at best, Dundee and Perth. Still feeling nice in the sunshine if you can't get out of that breeze, but we're not back into the 20s for a wee while. On Friday, temperatures about 15, 16 degrees Celsius, a lot of dry and bright weather, especially in the morning, a bit more cloud in the afternoon. The same on Saturday. Any showers, as I said, will be pretty isolated. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And that's all we've got time for on this shorter than normal programme. From all of us here, have a lovely evening and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.